Hey everybody. So I've been asked to do a modification on my very basic bracelet where I'm going to take a bar like this, and instead of going on a square route through the pasta maker, I'm going to flatten it out so that it's wide and thinner, so it'll look more like a ruler, like wide and thin, as opposed to like a bar like I usually make. So what I'm going to do is I've gotten this down to 6.5 millimeters, and I'm going to start flattening it out and rolling it thinner. It's going to be great, but first I have to anneal it again. I might have to hit it with the hammer before putting it back in the pasta maker because it might just not fit yet. Well, I tried putting it in the pasta maker and it is too tall for the flat roller, so I'm going to have to hammer this out or keep making it more square. We want to get about a centimeter at the end of width. If I flatten it out now, it'll get too wide already. Just gonna squish it on the pasta maker. So the problem with drawing this out too much as a square is that I'm going to get too much length before I get an opportunity to make it wide. So I've already got 3.5 inches on this, and the result I think is supposed to be a 7-inch bracelet. So I need to start flattening it out now. We're already down to 5.8 millimeters. Yep, it's supposed to be a 7-inch end result. We're already 4 inches, 3.5 inches in. I'm gonna have to flatten it. And the pasta maker, my rolling mill is almost, it looks like it's about to feed through. I think the mouth of the rolling mill is a maximum of 5 millimeters. Forgot all the details about the rolling mill I bought. I just know it was the cheapest good one I can get. So you can kind of see that this end already has a flat side. So I'm just going to use that as a reference and just keep flattening that out in that axis. So it's definitely wider on one axis. I just tapped this other axis just to make sure it was lined up. I kind of have a little metal coming up here. It's flaking up, which means that there's some stress fracturing here. So I'll probably grind that down real quick after, maybe before anneal. Probably grind that down just so that it doesn't keep fracturing out. Just like nice to get some of your grinding done before the problem gets too bad. So I'm going to use the most aggressive flappy bird. Most aggressive flappy bird I have. Just a quick grind on that. And then this is definitely going to fit in the pasta maker. Perfect. Yep, already fits. So that's good. And I'll take my dimensions and we'll go from there. I'll write all this down so that it's reproducible. And you can see the ends here are very deformed. I've actually been letting that happen. So I've been selling a lot of these 1-ounce bracelets, and what I've been doing is I've been adding another 1/7 of an ounce to the bracelet so that I can get away with making this. I've been grinding down a whole bunch and still being able to deliver a bracelet that's over a full ounce. So this kind of stuff I don't even have to worry about because I can just grind that off and I can go a full 1/7 of this a 6th or a 7th. I try to get above give myself a good threshold where I can just grind a bunch of this off, make it nice and clean. And then once it's clean, it's still over a full ounce, bam, everybody's happy. So now this is 4.7 by 6.7. 6.6, 6.7, 6.6, 6.6, 4.9, 4.9, 4.8, 4.9. Alright, so that's actually pretty good. Did a pretty good job eyeballing that. So we already have a full millimeter difference. Probably drew it out a little bit. Yep, we're at 4 inches now. So that drew it out a little bit just with the hammer. So but I got 3 more inches to draw it out, and then it's gonna look great. Yeah, I gotta anneal it some more because this is rock solid. So now I've annealed it again. I'm just gonna start squishing it. You can see it's kind of getting a little deformed. That's okay. So now we're at 3.9 by 6.8. It's getting a little wider. And we're at almost 5 inches. It's getting more carding pretty quick. This should be more malleable now. It's good. Looks good. Looks pretty uniform. There's no crazy wobble in it, like a S-curve like this you might get. Just happy we didn't get any of that. I'll just keep going on the flattening. And right now we're at 4.5 inches. Still got some good thickness to it. Because that's one of the things, I would like to keep a full, 2 millimeters thickness, just so there's some structure. Because if it's too thin, then it's gonna look weird. It's gonna look too much like a ruler. It's gonna look too, I don't want it to look like that. I want it to still have some heft to it. Get a little bit of crazy wobble in, but at least it's on the easy axis. It's on the major axis, so we just flatten that out. Just gonna take another measurement for the notebook. We got 7 millimeters by 3.2 at a length of 5.5 inches. Still on track. That 7 millimeters is good. You get some stress fracturing on the corners here. Here, I'll show you. You can see the stress fractures on the corner of the material. And again, I'll grind most of that away, and there won't be a problem. There's a little bit of like a U shape. You can see it in the shadow there. It flattens out more on the top and the bottom than in the center. So I'll go along the length of this and I'll flatten down these so that the top and the bottom and the center kind of get pushed back together. And again, for this design, since it's going to be a hammer texture, it doesn't matter as much because it's not going to be a flat wall. It'll be more like an organic hammered wall. But yeah, I'll do a little bit of that. It's time to anneal again. You notice I like to anneal in the dark so I can see the colors change. You don't want it to melt, because melting it after all this work is a bad day. So it's wobbly, but it should be annealed enough that I can just get it back. Every time I push it through the pasta maker here, I'm flipping it because the rollers aren't perfectly parallel. I just want to take the average Kind of make sure that it goes in perpendicular. Gotten to the very important step where it's probably going to be inappropriate to continue pushing this through the rolling mill because I will get more length without flattening it out too much more, and I'd like to flatten it out just a touch more because it's still a bit wide because I have to go about another 1/2 inch. I'm just going to hammer it. It will get that 1/2 inch extra drawn out just because as I hammer down the line here, it's going to draw it, and it's also going to splay it out widthwise. It's also going to make this thinner, right? So those are the 3 things. If I just keep hitting it here, wider, thinner, longer. And that's what we want. And then I'll throw the texture on it. I might actually start texturing. I might actually do all of that with the ball peen to just impart the texture now, even though I'd like a delicate texture eventually. I'll only use the ball peen on one side. If I do anything on the other side, it'll be with the flat. Yeah, it's going to be fine. Let's just anneal this one more time and draw it out for the last little bit with the ball peen. I'm learning as I go. Again, I've never made this specific design before. I have made this design with a 1/2 ounce, but the 1/2 ounce works a little differently. Look at him using his tubby time. He loves sitting in the tub. Okay. Hot potato. Alright, I'm gonna put on my hearing protection because this sucks. You can see it's curving up away from the anvil because of the accumulation of all the strikes here. Oh, I forgot to take a measurement. Maybe now's a good time. Let's see, where were we at? 6.6 after I crushed the sides and 2.9. Okay. Crushing the sides definitely brought it back down. But now on the side that I've hammered out, we're at a 7.2, 7.4, 7.3, right? So it's widening out for sure. We are thoroughly work hardened and definitely a little loopy. So I'm going to anneal that and straighten it out. And then we'll take some measurements. Alright, let's go put it in the bath. There we go. Perfect. I'm going to make it flat. You can see there's a bit of a wave to it, which isn't great. Let's measure it. So it's just under 7 inches, which is good, because it means that I can hit it a little bit more, and it's going to lengthen out to exactly what we need. And we're at 7.8. On that side, we're at 2.5 millimeter thickness. Wow, perfect. This is exactly what I wanted. Definitely good hammering texture there. Love that. So I'm going to straighten it out on the anvil. And, oh, I get to put my maker's mark on it. That's my maker's mark. Beautiful. Well, now that I've straightened it out, it's actually closer to 7 inches. And the texture looks pretty good. Right? Texture on this side. Less texture on that side, but still a little bit. And I'll go grind down the edges here. Hopefully we'll be left with a very decent bracelet. Now that I've done all that, I think it's about time to just bend it up think I should be able to just bend it by hand for the most part. I like to kind of get a uniform U for the first. I'm going to take my rubber tweezers here, kind of bend the ends in. Roughly the correct shape. Pretty sharp turn there. So that looks pretty good. I'll probably put that on the anvil. Just tap it out real quick. Kind of just took it on the horn of the anvil, make it a little bit rounder. So I still have to clean up these edges here, which I talked about before. Then I'll clean up the sides here. I'll take these down with a file. I'll take down the sides with probably with a file too. So I've done a good filing on it. It's decently round. Yeah, I'm going to polish the outside here. I did file down the edges, which is nice. So there's no sharp edges anywhere. And the polishing will help with that too. It's time to polish. So our final width here is 7.3. Final thickness is 2.3 or 2.4. You can still bend it open and closed. Don't be afraid of that. I'll give it a final polish here. So I've done the polish. I didn't clean the polish off yet, so it looks kind of black. Yucky. But this looks really good. So I promised to weigh it. Alright, don't kill me if it's not a full ounce. What do we got? 1.04, excuse me. We are above weight. I like to do that because I don't know how much I'm going to have to grind. You know, I might have to grind a lot. So this one doesn't have to grind very much. Love that. My maker's mark. Look at that. 999 pure silver and a mustache. Beautiful. Pretty easy too. Feels good. Looks good. Definitely wider on the wrist. Alright, time to go clean it up and take some pictures. Alright, I know all you science nerds were love to know. Alright, now that the polish is off, how much does it weigh? Because that polish probably weighed a whole bunch. No. Never mind. Didn't weigh nothing. So, I cleaned off the polish, and now it looks really good. A little mustache back there. Fun. This is, you know, you bend it, deform it. Don't be afraid. Solid silver. Put it on, take it off, leave it on forever. It's not going to tarnish nearly as much as sterling. Because there's no copper in here. It's good stuff. It feels comfortable. The inside is very nice. The outside is nice. There's no sharp edges. Stuff to check, you know. Feels good, feels good, feels good. It's flat, you know. It's not wobbled. So, good. Happy with that. I'll take pictures tomorrow when the sun comes out. It's just not very pretty right now. So, that's all we're going to do for today. Yes, thanks for watching. I'll probably put this on my Etsy store too. You know. And then I got other projects coming up.